With October officially upon us, we should all be scrounging to find the best horror films to watch so we can get into that Halloween spirit. But sometimes finding something on a streaming service is easier said than done. That's why I'm here to help. Hello, I'm Chris Killian, and these are the screens you can stream on Amazon Prime. Of all the streaming services, Amazon Prime might be my favorite, finding the sweet spot of collecting lesser-known indie titles while still having a library of classics. Speaking of classics, up first is one of the weirdest and most surreal horror experiences of the 70s. Phantasm closed out the decade by creating the iconic Tall Man. He never quite had the breakout success of Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees, but he's very creepy nonetheless.
I've been waiting for you.
Next is We Are What We Are, a remake of the Mexican 2010 film of the same name. This take on the concept arguably serves as an improvement upon the source material. The setting and stoic performances feel eerily reminiscent of fringe religious groups that currently exist, in addition to featuring a transfixing performance from Ozark's Julia Garner. If you love your horror to be straight out of the 80s, you'll love Night of the Demons. Part teen sex comedy and part The Evil Dead, this film encapsulates everything you love or hate about goofy horror movies from the 80s. Our next choice is Hole in the Ground. Director Lee Cronin captured a story that feels like a timeless fable able to take place in 2020 or 1920, creating an eerie atmosphere and mythology that feels like he might be kicking off his own franchise. However, Cronin will next be pivoting to the upcoming Evil Dead Rise, and this film gives audiences a taste of the mayhem in store for us.
It's not your boy.
He's not your son!
Now, Starry Eyes is a bit of an unknown movie that more people should check out. Many people would do whatever it takes to make their dreams come true, especially in the cutthroat world of Hollywood. Starry Eyes, however, will really take that cutthroat mentality to another level in this story of an actress who wants nothing more than to land her breakout role.
That's me. I'm your girl. I will do whatever it takes for this role.
Next is Maniac. The 80s were dominated by masked murderers in the horror genre because filmmakers knew all they had to do was throw a creepy mask on a villain to create a horrifying adventure. The decade kicked off, however, with one of the most disturbing serial killers of all time with Maniac, featuring a madman whose face is way more frightening than any mask could be. Another one to check out is We Are Still Here. Ghost stories on film often rely on mood and tone to scare their viewers, showing creaky doors and dark shadows to convey a feeling of unease. This is true of a majority of We Are Still Here, but the film also packs a punch and a blood-soaked finale that is unlike virtually any other ghost story.
You guys have moved into one weird town.
Up next is easily the most polarizing and challenging of all of Rob Zombie's films, Lords of Salem, but it's also his biggest success. As far as narratives go, his previous films were much more direct, due in part to their focus on crazy killers. Once he incorporated supernatural elements into his story, he was able to get much more ambitious and incorporate bizarre and surreal imagery. And you can't call yourself a true lover of horror movies without watching Night of the Living Dead. While filmmaker George Romero didn't create the zombie movie, many would argue that he perfected it in this 1968 classic. Thanks to The Walking Dead reviving the zombie genre and making it one of the most popular series on television, October marks the perfect opportunity to see the story that helped launch hundreds of imitators.
I know you're afraid. I'm afraid too.
The last movie on Amazon Prime you need to check out is The House of the Devil. Shot on 16mm, House of the Devil serves as a throwback to the 80s that manages to capture the style, wardrobe, and music of the time without ever winking at the audience while also offering contemporary filmmaking sensibilities. Thanks for watching. Find me on Twitter at Chris Killian or Instagram at CK Comedy and tell me which of the movies on the list is your favorite. For the entire month of October, be on the lookout for our other videos as we suggest the best horror movies on all the major streaming services.